Hi, I'm John Good, Senior Executive Vice President of DW. Now, we've spoken in my office before. Last time, I think we were talking about the Supersolid, maybe? I'm not sure. But anyway, this whole topic today is going to be on the Edge Snare Drum, which is pretty much an old friend of mine. I developed this snare drum in 1991. Back in the days, you know, when Don and I were building the company, you know, I was doing a lot of road work. I was on the road with so-and-so here and there, and it occurred to me one day that I really wanted to make a snare drum that could crack and pop on stage and hit the back seat at Madison Square Gardens. Now, how do you do that? Well, some people might say, well, with a PA system, of course, but what I felt like was I needed to have the character of that sound that could travel that far. So I got to dreaming and thinking and wondering about how we could make that happen. And, you know, we start with this particular drum with a embodiment of the shell that's a 10-ply regular standard maple shell, and we cut this shape out top and bottom. So it's cut into it. As you can possibly see here, we cut it in like this. Then I took, you know, and I've changed this material back and forth many different times, but this, I seem to always land back at brass. I've done steel, I've done zinc, and now I'm just doing brass again, and it's really heavy, and it's really thick. It's about 3/8 of an inch thick, and it's, I don't know, it just has a certain quality about it where when you play a rim shot on this drum, you're never going to forget it. So what we do is we fit these two together. We cut out the inside. This is cast and then spun and shaped, and we cut out the inside of this hoop so it fits right into the shape of this one. So they marry together kind of like a puzzle. Now, having said that, the components of the drum are metal top and bottom, brass top and bottom of a maple shell. The other components that go onto this drum obviously are true tone snare wires, and these snare wires, which we'll talk about later on at another time, are really something. The simplicity and the beauty of these snare wires just really, really deliver every time. Sensitivity, articulation is what it's all about. Now, another component of the drum, obviously, is the tension rod. And I've gone to stainless steel tension rods. They're machine top, and they are 5mm threads. They're very fine, and your tunability of this drum is just endless. So, very, very important components of the drum. Also, the counter hoop. The counter hoop is what we call a true hoop. Now, I spent a lot of time developing this true hoop so that there were no distortions here where the ears are spread out on this counter hoop. So we use a 150-ton press to flatten all this stuff out. Plus, it's rolled with a full radius on top. This beast is 3mm thick. So it's really helping with the rim shot. It's kind to your drumstick because it's got a full radius flange on top. This is really, really a major component, major player in this drum. Also, the drum heads. Here's the snare side head. It's crimped. It's, you know, and I subscribe to an ambassador weight snare side. And then we also have the ambassador weight crimped top coated head, which has a tuning sequence all the way around. Now, this is a tuning sequence. I would call it more of a tensioning sequence, because you go 1, 2, skip a lug, 3, 4, skip a lug, 5, 6, skip a lug, 7, 8, skip a lug, 9, 10. When you do that, you wound up putting this thing onto the drum so square and so nice and tight and flat that you can then go in your tuning from lug to lug to lug. And it really helps you get it down there nice and even. So the drum heads are very, very important, and they're the crimp style. So that compiled with the throw-off system, and boy are these guys heavy, but you know it's important. It's important that you know you got a snare drum when you pick this guy up. Neil Peart used to call this the fat boy because he really loved the fatness and everything he could get out of it. And he played this inside arenas. Outside he'd play a different snare drum. But for, you know, in one environment you want one type of sound, next environment you might want another type of sound. But let's get back to this drum. Here you can see it's fitted with the rings top and bottom with the wooden center. We also have the mag throw-off which is fitted on every one of these drums. And what it is it's a throw-off system that is adjustable. In other words, let's say you're playing a ballad and you're hitting rim shots. You run the risk with a drop style throw-off if you hit it too hard of it just throwing off like that, which would be really a drag. This one won't do that though, because there's a magnet in the very top of the throw on this throw-off. So having that magnet there ensures that it will never throw off, and hence the name, the mag throw-off. Very complex. The other side of this is what we call a 3-position butt plate. Now, here, let's say we're playing our ballad, and we got the snares fairly loose. Center position tightens up the snares, and then you got a hip-hop song after that. Really tight, medium, really loose. So this throw-off system is working extremely well for us, and we're very happy with it. Thank you. Now, since we've done all kinds of different drum shells in recent times, I think we've talked, I know that Neil Peart and I were talking about the standard shells, the 7 and 3, the 7, the VLT, the X shell, the VLX shell. And by the way, I've got a new shell, which we won't get into too much right now, but VLX Plus. We could go on and on and on. Not to mention the different types of wood we can do. We can do birch, we can do maple, etc., etc. Well, I can also do that in the middle of the Edge snare drum. Wouldn't you like to know what the standard Edge sounds like? Well, you'll have that on sound bites, which we're working on currently, so you can go to our web and hear all that. You can actually hear it on the kit builder. And the kit builder is going to have all these different sound bites available, and we're going to put a VLT center, so you can hear the difference of a straight up VLT in the center of an Edge snare drum. We're putting in an X Edge as well, so you got the X shell in the center of the drum. I mean, the sky's the limit. Don't tempt me to put a VLX in the center of one of these things, because I'll do it. Actually, we'll do whatever you want us to here at DW. We've also built another type of Edge snare drum, which I'm real proud of. This actually came from, the idea came from one of our retailers. We had a customer who wanted just the top edge. So we said, yeah, we can do that. And lo and behold, it turned into a pretty nice snare. We just put the top edge on here and an X shell body, and the bottom bearing edge is sitting on the wood. So you get the cut and the crack on the top, and you get a ton of guts on the bottom, which for certain songs or certain types of music can be really, really attractive. So that's another snare that we're doing with the Edge line. Not to mention, my love of the Supersolid. We got the Supersolid Edge. Supersolid Edge, this particular one right here, has maple on the top and bottom with walnut in the center. Or we could do walnut on the edge, maple in the center, or cherry on the edge and walnut in the center. We've got a myriad of different woods that we can do. So this is a kind of a fun time for us with the Edge snare drum program. And as you can see, there are so many different types and variations that we can do to please your ears. You got articulation from the bearing edge, articulation from the drum head, articulation from the tension rods, articulation from the counter hoops. Makes your playing very articulate, obviously. So this type of drum is an important drum I think that you should have in your arsenal. To find out more about these drums, contact your dealer or DW at dwdrums.com, and we'll fix you up. Remember, this is one heck of a drum, and it can be a great tool for you. Thanks again for listening.